Just finished watching a really cool movie with a guy that I enjoy all 90% of his movies. And that's Liam Neeson. That's Liam Neeson. I used to call him Nielsen, but I'm looking at the spelling. It's Neeson. Liam Neeson. And he starred in this movie called Absolution. And let me just put it like this. Most of the movie I kept thinking I wish I was with my dad. I wish my dad was here watching this movie with me. Because my dad Victor and I used to always go run out and catch the latest Liam Neeson movie. And to watch it alone kind of was like missing that feeling of having, you know, watching it, seeing it with my dad around. He's a 72-year-old man home with his wife, and I need to spend time. I need to give him a call and make a better effort on my part. On my part, I need to make a better effort. So the movie starts off with like a 1977, some sort of Chevy SS, old muscle car. And who do we have sitting in the car? We have the star, the main character, the protagonist. And that's Liam Nielsen. And I'm going to give you a little bit of not a spoiler, but I wanted to go over the credits, to look at the credits. And I'm looking at the credits and I'm realizing that his title in the movie, as far as his name in the movie, was just Thug. He was the thug in the movie. And then the rest of the credits is just like woman and daughter in car and gunman, priest. There was no real names to these characters. And I thought that was interesting. And I looked at what have I seen her in? And I couldn't remember it. What's up, Carlton Way and Ham Shorts? How are you? What is your channel about? I'm all over the place. I have no rhyme, no reason. But I'm doing a movie review right now. A Liam Neeson video or film. And basically, Jesus loves you, brother. Kelly McKinley. Okay, well, my Cash App is $ Elvis Rosenberg. Show me monetarily how much, Kelly, and I say that respectfully. That's $ Elvis Rosenberg, Cash App. And the Venmo is Elvis-Rosenberg. So we have a situation where the movie starts off with this guy, older man. He looked a little older than you would normally see him. He's basically playing... Nah, this is too... God, if I don't know what that means. So we got this older guy. Like, his character was playing a little bit older role. The guy that was on the screen was probably 70. He was playing a 70-something man. I don't know how old he is in life. We find out really quickly that this is a man who is not to be played with. He's standing in some sort of fish market, one of those wholesale fish markets where they have the big, huge, $10,000 tuna. And there's some sort of gangster kind of activity going on. There's some young guy in his 20s. And he's standing there and he seems to be in the daze, the main character, the protagonist, the thug. He doesn't have a name in the movie. His name, he's just the thug, which I thought was so interesting. And what happened is B578, how are you as well? Good to see you. Don't forget, you press the screen twice, and that'll give me the thumbs up. So tap the screen twice, give me the thumbs up. And he's standing there, kind of like in the daze, and the people in the fish market, some sort of Hispanics, they were like, "Yo, what's up with this guy? Why is he so like in the daze?" And he wound up threatening one of the Hispanics, saying like, "Yo, I'll break your shoulders. Say this to me." He kind of had to let him know that, like, his faculties are fine. There's nothing to worry about. Yeah, he was standing there in the daze, but basically, you bored me. You guys bored me with your silliness. So the scene kind of just moves on, and the movie's moving. What you would think the movie would move in a slower pace, but it kind of moved nice. An hour and 52 minutes, and an hour and a half or hour and 20 minutes. On pretty well. I was originally watching Wicked, but I fell asleep watching it. And then I put this on, and I was like, all into it, totally into it. So my Wicked review will be coming whenever I can keep my damn eyes open in between the singing. And what we have is, we have a situation where, let me move this. See, my glasses are, got the big glare in the glasses. So let me just do it then. So what we have is, we have the thug who is obviously working for some guy who's played by Perlman, the guy who does all those motorcycle things. He was on Blade. I can't remember, Phil Perlman. Good actor. I don't know if he was giving enough in this particular role to like say he did really great, because this role could have been done by anyone. It didn't have to be done by such a A-class actor, so to speak. He had very little to say. But it looked like the thug, the protagonist, was working for him. And the young man at the fish market was his son, who just finished college and is looking to become a gangster. Doesn't want to be a businessman, wants to be a gangster. So the father is allowing the son to make some sort of decision on making money, bringing in some sort of revenue. Father, who's a little younger than the thug's character, who's like 75, 70, between 69 and 75 years old. He's playing that character role, that age. At least that's my guess, the way they wanted him to appear. They never talked about his age, but that's what I came up with in my mind, 69. Between 69 and 75. And what happened is, he's been keeping a notepad, and inside his notepad he's writing down little kind of little things to remember, because he wound up meeting some girl at the bar, Yolanda something or another. But as far as the credits were concerned, her name was just like a woman, and it happened to be a black woman who was having an argument with her boyfriend. And this black woman was, in her 50s, and I knew I seen her. I was like, yo, I think Yolonda Ross. Like, I've seen this woman before. I used to be in the bar business. I think she's come to my bar and had a few drinks. She might have been a friend of Tom. That's Tom Martin. Tom Martin was my head bartender, and I'm sure he's brought her over, because I just know I know her. And when I looked at her biography, or her discography, so to speak, she's been in tons of stuff. Like, we're talking about this woman in tons of movies that I never even heard of. But she was so good, so spot on, so realistic. She was this woman who loved, like, she's that barfly who, she's a black woman. She's into white men. Her boyfriend is white, young, loud, and she's, challenging him at the bar, and comes over and is trying to stop this, and winds up knocking the guy out. So he knocks the guy out, and then she kind of outside the bar said, "Yo, you knocked my boyfriend out. Who's gonna walk me home?" So of course he smashes. They didn't show any sex scenes with like him thrusting her or anything like that. There was just some banter uh, in between, like let's say a session, so to speak. He had on a T-shirt, aka the wife beater, and she might have had on some sort of negligee, and he wound up like seeing his way out. Like early in the morning, he just leaves her sleeping and he bounces, which was like showing his like the guy's gonna leave, not say goodbye. Keeping the theme of the thug, keeping the theme of the thug. You got a guy who's punching people out, smashing their girl, and not saying goodbye. That's his character. He doesn't say goodbye. He just keeps it pushing. So that was kind of like interesting to see that in the movie. For a second, I thought he was going to put a few on the nightstand, but he didn't treat her like a prostitute in any way, shape, or form. And then most thugs are not going to pay the chick. That's really a simp move. Simps are the ones that are gonna, just make sure her pockets are right, just in case she needs something, which sounds like a gentleman move, honestly. But a thug is not going to do that, and his character is the thug. And we have to appreciate the thug in this, and all that circumferences and all the lifestyle that a thug has to deal with. It's like a gangster. I remember they asked Katie Couric asked Little Wayne, "Well, why do you call yourself a gangster?" And he's like, "Because I do whatever I want to do when I want to do it." And that's the definition of a thug. A thug doesn't say goodbye after he smashes. He just gets up and he keeps it pushing. And they were setting a theme here, and he wound up doing that score with the young guy. He wound up doing that move that with the fisherman, and the young guy that was doing the move. This was like his first big shipment. They basically met up with a guy in New York City. They're from Massachusetts, by the way. This movie takes place right there along the shore of the Massachusetts shore. Right over there near Boston, kind of a place. They didn't have that Boston accent or anything like that. It wasn't a lot of New Haven. It was more like New Hampshire accent opposed to a Boston accent. But the license plates were all Massachusetts license plates, and they wound up driving into the city, getting possession of a box truck, one of those 6-wheelers, and the kid like almost panicked when the police were driving behind them. He had to like grab him by his collar and push him down the floor of the car and say, "Shut up and don't talk. You're panicking right now. I don't need the cops to see you panicking." And of course the police did take a look at him because ever since 9/11, the police in high alert of all white vehicles, white trucks and vans. They're like trained to just always pay attention to who's the driver. So you got this 70-year-old man driving this big box truck, not a big deal. And when they get to the destination they're supposed to go to in Massachusetts somewhere, they don't tell you exactly where. This is a truck full of people. They're like doing human trafficking, some sort of like prostitution ring. And one of the women, like the young guy was, "I want to see what they're doing back there. I want to see what they got back there." He's like, no, you don't check to see what they got back there. That's none of our business. Our job is to bring the truck here, not to get involved. So he's like schooling the young man. But of course, this young man is very resentful for being told what to do or being told anything, I guess. He wanted to be in back there and look. He didn't care about repercussions or consequences. he told them not to. And in that process, one of the people that was being trafficked ran up to the vehicle and was like screaming to help, help, help me, help me, help me. And of course, they couldn't do that. And uh, so we have a situation where there was a fight in the bar with him. Right before the fight in the bar, he goes over to a boxing ring. And in this boxing ring, this is one of the three. This is one of the things that I think is the owner of the UFC. What is the guy that owns it? Dana White. I'm not sure if it was Dana White or Joe Rogan that said that they had a boxing gym, and that this boxing gym got visited by these gangsters, and the gangsters wanted a percentage every month or every week. Yeah, every month. They were charging them protection, and I think it was Dana White, and Dana White just wasn't with it. He was like, "Nah, man, I'm not paying any protection to anybody. I don't need protection." But he wound up leaving and going to Vegas or whatever have you, and hence the story of the UFC. That's how it happened. That's how they were able to, that was just part of his story that led him to getting the UFC. But before that, he was approached. So this movie was kind of accurate when it talked about how the thug, the main character, Liam Neeson, not Nielsen, like I always thought, Neeson, he protection money. He gets the money, so he's basically discover. Okay, wait. This guy is like muscle. He's muscle for some sort of gangster person who has him picking up monies that are owed. So you're like, oh, okay, so he's like basically, he's like, he's the enforcer to a gangster. And what we have is we have this guy who's the shooter, who is the thug, who is a little bit forgetful and starting to like recognize that he's having some sort of problem remembering. Hey, Mary Jane, how are you? Long time no see. I'm happy. I'm good. Good to see you. So we have this. Yeah, I'm doing a movie review, a movie I just watched, and the whole time I missed my dad, Victor. The whole time I was like, man, I wish Victor was here so we could watch this together, because it was like, that's what we used to do. It was we watched Nielsen. So, so I'm recognizing. Okay, so he's like some sort of enforcer, and he's also recognizing, he's self-aware. He's not a dummy. That things are not the same anymore. He's becoming forgetful. And when he left that woman's house, that he walked home, that he smashed, he kind of couldn't remember where he was going for a second. And then he looked up and he saw, was it like an old water tower? I don't know if it was a water tower or some sort of like factory, those huge smokestacks where they're, these factories from 100 years ago would just be pumped, like big chimney, and it was painted red. So he was using that as like a guide, like, he knew that looked familiar, so he just kept on walking. And then eventually he figured out where he was going, which was home. So he had to pick up some oxys from a doctor. And when he picked up the oxys from the doctor, he was telling him like, yo, kind of losing a little memory. I forgot where I lived. It's not the first time. And the doctor was like, well, you better see somebody about that. Didn't really offer any other help. He did some tests. And what you have is CTE, I believe it's called, where, when you've suffered from way too many concussions. So you suffer from these concussions, and what happens when you suffer from concussions, your brain starts to, you have all these frontal lobe problems, memory problems. You won't be able to take care of yourself on your own. There's just so much stuff, and memory loss is all part of that. So he finds out that he's suffering from the same thing these NFL players are suffering from. and he's suffering the same thing that these boxers are suffering from. And he made a reference to her like, "Oh, I'm punch drunk," and she was like, "Yeah, we don't use that term anymore." So he's basically becoming Sugar Shane Mosley, and I say that respectfully. It's just Sugar Shane Mosley whenever he speaks. He's a boxer. I think he moved to Puerto Rico where so many people moving to Puerto Rico, but he lives in Puerto Rico now, and whenever they interview him, it's just heartbreaking to see Sugar Shane Mosley speak like that. Like has such a slow speech. It's like he forgets what he's saying while he's saying it. It's really sad. So this enforcer, this thug, the protagonist in the movie, is suffering from memory loss, and he's sitting in his car after leaving the hospital, and then he parks his car by his house, and then he pulls the gun out, and then he just like puts the gun in his mouth, and he's like ready to pull the trigger, like, whoa, you just found out that and the doctor told him he's going to have a few years before it gets really bad, but she has no idea, and there's no cure for it, there's no medication for it. He's just going to have to, only time is going to tell what's going to happen. I need a trim. It's been like 3 weeks. So what's happening is right, and next to him there's like a child that pulled up in a car with her parents. So by him looking at the little girl, I mean, I'm sure he didn't want to traumatize her by him blowing his brains out right there in the car. Next thing you know, he's on the phone calling his daughter. And she is the biggest C word, B word you will ever meet. She hates the guy, wants nothing to do with the guy. She's like, what? And he was like, well, I just wanted to, And she was like, no, I'm good. And she was really, really mean to him. But looking at that little girl in the car made him kind of think of his daughter. Because even at the doctor's office where he got the test, the doctor was like, do you have any family? Do you have any friends? Do you have anyone? And he was like, yeah, I got kids. I don't have a wife, but I got some kids. So he goes over to, he winds up, after the phone call, he winds up going to his daughter's house. And she's like, listen, man, I got a lot going on here. You don't need to be here. I don't know what you're going through. Maybe you got cancer or something, whatever it is, I don't got time for this. And he was like trying to kind of like apologize. Listen, I'm sorry for being such a jerk. She's like, yeah, you are a jerk. And that's why I don't want nothing to do with you. And not only were you a jerk to my mother, my children's fathers were all jerks to me. And before that, my mother's father was a jerk to her mother. And she just kept going on. And it's like, it's generational curse. So she did acknowledge that she too has, father that didn't stop this reality that she's in. Don't forget to hit the screen twice. You just tap it twice, bing, bing, and it will give a thumbs up. So tap the screen, give it a thumbs up, and I'll continue with this quick review. And it's basically, you got this guy who's realizing that his mind is going. He's been a gangster all his life. He used to be a boxer. And he wound up going back to his daughter's house a couple of times, earning a little bit of trust. And he took his grandson. Well, it was a little manipulative. He waited for his grandson to be walking with his friends and say, hey, your mother said to take you home. And then in that process, he kind of like got to know the kid. He took him over to the boxing ring. He showed him a couple of moves. He's trying to get in good with the kid. Like, listen, I've never been in your life, but, I'm your grandfather. And, he doesn't say anything about him being sick or losing his mind. He doesn't do any of that stuff. He just wants to, like, take her to a nice restaurant. Let me take you out to dinner. And mind you, they completed that mission from the Hispanics with the boss's son. That was completed. He was told to go on another mission to pick up some money from a priest. A priest owes some money. What does a priest owe a gangster money for? I don't even want to know. ugh, I just had so many horrible thoughts. Like, this priest has to pay somebody some money, and he goes to for like a loan, and now he has to pay the loan back, and the thug goes over to get the money from the preacher or the priest, some Catholic priest. Ugh, what did he do that he needed gangsters' money? T. Rilla, what's up, dude? How are you? And I see there's a message retracted. I don't know what happened. So, what happened? What was I saying? I got distracted by looking at T. Rilla's message being retracted. I didn't see what the message was. But he has a rent, so he knows what he's doing. Uh, so he tried to get in good with the kid. Wanted to. They did the job. Oh, the priest. So he goes to meet up with the priest. And while he's going to go meet up with the priest, uh, the priest kind of like try to like dodge him, like try to ignore him. And he jumped out the car like, hey, what are you doing? And the priest like ran into this like one of these trucks that was unloading somewhere like in downtown, the downtown area where like the courts would be, and where the courts would be in like office buildings. And this looked like it was on a Sunday. And the guy runs into like a truck, and he's like, yo, he goes in the truck. He's like, yo, what the hell's wrong with you? What are you doing? So the priest winds up pulling out the money and paying him the money. Apologize. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm sorry. Here, take your money. I have it right here. So he takes the money from the priest, and next thing you know, he hears like a car pull up alongside the box truck that he's inside of. And as the priest was exiting the truck from the back, they shoot the priest, and the priest drops, goes. I've never seen, and I have to give the director for this. Kudos to the director for directing this movie in a way where most shootouts are not going to be like the OK Corral. They're not going to be like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. They're not going to be like this huge bang, 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 just everybody just fighting, and you know, like in Heat, when they're running down the streets in Heat. You know, that's not going to really happen. You don't really find that too. It's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a whole different world when it comes to putting in that work and defending your life, especially if you're intelligent and you're strategic and you're smart and you're trying to stay alive and not trying to go out in a blaze of glory. And the director did such a great job, I tell you. I love the way they directed the scene, because he basically was able to position himself where the guy shoots the priest as he was coming out, but the guy never went, he shoots the priest as he was exiting. Because in his mind, the gunman is thinking that the thug has a weapon as well. And then we learn in a few minutes that they were told that this person is very difficult to kill. So they knew that they were coming after like an expert, a professional killer here. This was not a person that was just going to be a walk in the park to take out. So, mind you, he doesn't know what's going on, because he's just picking up money from this priest. And he don't know who's after him. As far as he knows, he has no beef. You know? And then he strategically exits the box truck, or at least goes towards the exit of the box truck, was able to grab the guy. Mind you, he's unarmed. He has no weapon on him. He left his weapon in the car. Maybe he didn't even have his weapon on him when he went to pick up the money. He wound up slamming the guy's head, bang, bang, on the side of the... Because he was able to grab the guy. Because the guy... It was very, very unique the way it happened. You have to see this scene. This box truck scene was really done well. And what he did was, he stood in, once he slammed the guy's head, He's like, you're getting your head slammed 3, 4 times into the side of or to the edge of a truck. You're not getting up from that for quite some time. And he stood in the truck. He didn't jump out of the truck. He stood in the truck. And while in the truck, he could hear the person walking alongside the truck, another person. So he kicks the door open, which forces the guy to like catch his balance. Once he jumps down from the truck, he was able to maneuver, get the guy. I don't know if he shot the guy, or did he take the guy's weapon, or he was an ex-boxer, real thug, real ex-thug. Boom! Drops the dude with hit him with the right hand in the face. He was really good with his hands. Ex-boxer, no joke. Really smart. Been a gangster for 30, 40, 50 years. So he got his wits. He's not out of breath. He's not flustered in any way. And as he's walking towards his car, someone shoots a shotgun, and there was enough distance between him and the shotgun blast, because when you release that shotgun, it just totally opens up and it spreads. It's not like a controlled hit or controlled burst. So he was not touched by that first shotgun shot, and he was able to jump into the vehicle. Because when he first went after the priest, he had left the door wide open. Did he leave the door wide open? No, he didn't. This was the passenger door he went in. Somehow he's in the passenger door of his car. The guy with the shotgun is coming around the car. He left the car running. That's what he did. And while the car was running, he was able to put it in reverse, and he runs the guy over. These guys are real like amateurs. Most people, they just think they're gonna be like Remy Ma's son. Remy Ma, the rapper, her son at 20 years old said, "I want to become a hitman," and started to do hits. Like really unprofessional. Nothing that just people just think, "Oh, I got a gun. I'm gonna become a hitman now." No, it takes a little more training than that. Just because you got a weapon doesn't mean that you're going to be able to properly use it. So he was able to exploit that and come up top, and he wound up standing over the guy, and he's like, "Listen, I'm going to find out where you live, and I'm going to probably bump into, when I get to wherever you live, who am I going to see? I'm going to see your wife? Is that your girl I'm going to see? And I'm going to hurt her." He was like, "All right." So he didn't know who guy with a tattoo, a spider tattoo on his neck. So he makes it back to the boss, and he goes to the boss's house, not to the boss's office. He goes back to the boss's house, and he's telling the boss, like, "Yeah, I got jumped. They try to get me." And the boss is like, "Yo, you got a beef with anybody?" He's like, "Nah, not that I know of." And he was like, "Well, you all right?" He's like, "Yeah." And then he pulls out the 20 G's, and he pays the boss what the priest gave him before the priest was killed. Where he could have said, "Oh, the priest was killed before I got a chance to get the money. I never got the money. Things got crazy, and I had to get out of there." He didn't do that. So it was basically, he was super loyal, super honest, and paid the boss his money. And I thought that was kind of cool. And while he's realizing that he's losing his mind, he had a situation where he tried to meet up with his daughter for dinner. She never showed. It was like her revenge for all the times he never showed. And he was with that woman that he met at the bar, the black woman he met at the bar. They're like developing a relationship where she like actually popped up at his house. He's like, "How do you know where I live?" She said, "I searched your wallet when you were sleeping." And she's a bit of an alcoholic. She has all these like burn marks on her arm. And he was like, "Where do you get these scars from?" And she was like, "Oh, they're burns." And you, in your mind, you're thinking like she was attacked, or maybe she was some sort of prostitute and someone tied her up and burnt her up. You don't really know what to think of it. You actually don't think of it. It was just like the conversation was just so common in passing. And next thing you know, She's kind of like this dinner with his children, and she was like really down and there for him, and he kind of like lost it. Couldn't remember his kids' names. Couldn't remember what he was doing there. He totally had this huge, like he totally was crashing out in the restaurant, and she was there for him, and she held him down and like helped him get out of that situation. Unfortunately, she called the daughter. The daughter comes over to the house, and he finds out that the daughter now knows that he's suffering from, this, what is it, Lou Gehrig's disease, or I don't, yeah, yeah, something like that. Lou Gehrig's disease. He was that baseball player that he had that famous speech where he said, "I'm the luckiest man in the world. Today, I'm the luckiest man in the world." Mind you, the guy's like dying of a incurable disease. So I wonder who wrote that, or did he wing it? Where was his proverbial teleprompter placed? So he's kind of pissed off. He's mad at the girl. He kicks her out his house. He's like, "Get out of here!" And he like threatened to punch her in the face. And then she was like, "Yeah, come on, you want to hit me? You want to hit me? Go ahead and hit me." It was like really great acting on her part. She's really a good actor. I have to give her a lot of credit. Yolonda Ross, I think her name is. She's super good. I would like to see her in other things. Overweight black woman, a lot of spunk, a lot, very realistic. She did a really, really amazing job. So, something, he gave the boss the 20 grand, but now he's thinking, man, I could have used that 20 grand and give it to my daughter. My daughter, she needs the money. She's getting kicked out of her house. This will be a way for me to kind of like, rekindle some of the mistakes I made. Don't forget, hit the screen twice. Give me the thumbs up. That's tap the screen twice. Give me the thumbs up. So we got a guy here who's kind of make a. He's kind of trying to do the right thing before he totally loses his mind. And the dinner didn't work out, and the relationship with the girl didn't work out, and now the relationship with his boss is not working out because his boss is asking him questions like, "What's your address? What's your telephone number?" Because remember when he went to the doctor to get the perks, he got a big box of Percocets. The doctor told the boss, like, "Yo, this guy's losing his mind, or he can't remembering. He's dealing with whatever he's dealing with." And so the boss tells him, "Listen, I'm gonna have to let you go." This was the same day that he was gonna go ask the boss money to help pay for his daughter's home that she's losing. She's losing the home. She's losing the home because she was like a renter, and the owners, they want her out, kind of a thing. He had like one more situation with the grandson. He's trying to do the right thing. So he steps to the boss, and at the time that he steps to the boss fires him and says, "I can't take a chance. You're a liability. You know, you're aged out." So as he's exiting this office, so to speak, this warehouse where there's tons of mattresses, there's a big, huge guy at the door, right? And what does the guy have on his neck? A spider tattoo. The same tattoo that he was told by the guy at the box truck that he ran over with the car, that he's standing over him with a gun in his face. Tells him he didn't know who the guy was. He was just a big guy with a spider tattoo on his neck. So you got to be careful with these tattoos, especially a spider on your neck. You want to have a big, nasty, scary spider on your neck. Maybe you don't put hits out on people. So he just went right for the guy's windpipe and just whacked him so hard. One of those like karate chops to the windpipe, drops the guy. That carotid artery just did his carotid artery dirty. Bang! Knocks the guy right on his ass. Big, 330-pound, 5'11", 6 foot tall monk gorilla. Knocks the gorilla down. Pulls the gun out. Shoots the son. The son is there. Shoots the son in the leg, and tells the father to open up the safe. Then he tells the father, put the money in a bag, give me all those guns and the money, put it in the bag right now. And then he's looking at the father right in the face, and the father's like, yo, just don't take my son, just don't kill my son. It's like these gangster movies have these gangsters that are these aged out gangsters, so to speak, just totally accepting death. There's no crying, there's no whimpering, there's just like, I know why you're here, do what you got to do. Just do me a favor, don't take my son's life. Yeah, it just seems kind of crazy because because what I'm thinking is the son was still being rebellious and wanted the guy killed and paid those other guys to kill this man when he picked up the priest's money. But why would the son take a chance on messing up his father's 20 grand like that? Were those guys then supposed to take the 20 grand from the priest? Were they supposed to kill the priest? Were they supposed to kill him and the priest? Like, what's going on? It just seems very bizarre. Was the son acting alone? We don't know. All this is up in the air. But we definitely did it with a young guy who effed with the wrong person. And now, and then for the father to just fire him like that and not give him 10, 15, 20,000, 50,000. You worked for me for 30, 40 years. To at least ask the question, do you have anything saved for a rainy day? What you gonna do now? Like, you just don't just throw people out on the street like that. And he even said that to him. He said, you just throw me out, you just fire me and just treat me like a pea. I don't know exact words, but it's like, why would you do that to me? Why would you just dump me out on the fucking street like that? After 30 years of loyalty, I just gave you that 20 grand that I didn't have to do that. And that's when he just looked at him and he just like, to me, I would have just, like, why wouldn't he fight and just go for the weapon? Why wouldn't he fight him for the weapon? Why did he just accept death like that? And I'm talking about Perlman, the guy that was in Blade and the guy that was in those motorcycle anarchy movies. Phil Perlman, I believe. Why did he fight him? Why did he just accept death like that? Like, are these gangsters just looking? Are they looking to have somebody take them out? Are they done? Are they like, do you live that gangster life where is it a relief? Is it the Pepto-Bismol? What a relief it is. That's that Pepto-Bismol slogan. Is death your Pepto-Bismol? Is your friend taking you out the Pepto-Bismol of your gangster life? Pop, pop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. And it's like, I don't know. I just felt like the gun was so close to his face. Like, why would he try to grab it? Why wouldn't he try to fight for his life? Why would he? I guess maybe when he's just having all these people collecting money, and he never had to lift a finger, he lacked the ability to fight. I don't know. But once he kills him too. He says, sit down. When he sits down, he just, shoots him, probably right in the heart. They didn't show, but he definitely let off one. They didn't show whether he let the son live, because don't forget, he shot the son in the leg. And then that's another thing. He shoots the son in the leg. The son is like, mum's the word, doesn't say anything while his father has a gun to his face. He's not packing himself. Or maybe the father taught him that you don't never pack. You have everybody else pack for you. You have everybody else holding for you. Like Biggie Smalls said, them cats that hold your jumps could squeeze guns too. Them cats that hold your drugs or your jumbos were like the vials that you put the crack inside were jumbos. And Biggie Smalls had a reference in one of his songs where he said, "Them cats to squeeze your guns, the cats to squeeze your guns can hold jumps too." All right, the guys who shoot can also hold the drugs. You don't have to have drugs on you. So maybe this gangster guy was teaching his son, you don't need to have a gun on you. Let these other guys have the gun on them. That's what you're paying them for. Hence, the son couldn't really make the move. Like, you got shot in the leg. Why are you not up trying to fight for your father? Why are you not at least pleading for his life? Sorry, man. Yo, chill. That's my father. Don't do that. Well, just take the money. Just go. Just get out of here. We don't need all this. Nobody's going to say. I mean, he didn't do any of that. So I found that to be a little interesting. And I found it to be interesting how mum's the word this kid was, and how accepting the father was to his new reality that he was not going to be alive in the next couple of minutes. So he doesn't seem to empty out the safe neither. He seems to take like half of the cash that's in the safe, which is probably $250,000. The safe probably had $500,000 in there, and he winds up going back to that spot where he dropped off where the woman tried to jump in the truck to say, "Help me, help me, help me." They're being trafficked. He went back to the house. Earlier in the movie, he did go back to the house, and he told the guy, like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a girl," because they were using the house as a prostitution spot, where all the rooms were full of just Johns, just these men that are just using these women for sex. They don't care about the trafficking aspects of it. They just want to get off and go about their business, go back to go back home to their lives, and not understanding that there's so many other involved here. It's not that simple. So he showed up, and he was like, he saw the girl that tried to get in his car, and he told her that he didn't want to have sex with her. He was just curious about her, that she had family, and she showed him a picture of some sort of sibling, or maybe a child. I'm not sure. So he goes back after he kills the boss, and he goes back to the spot, and he has a bag full of money, and he claimed it was 30,000. The only way that could have been 30,000 if they were all singles and fives, because it was so much money in the bag. I'm like, Jesus, like Quentin Tarantino, when he directs a movie, he uses real cash because he likes to show the realistic aspects of the weight of money, and the way it looks, and the way it should look in a bag, or the way it should look in a pocket. And when you pull out money and you say that it's a certain amount, it should be that amount. So this movie was lacking that realistic aspect, because he has this huge paper bag with what he referred to as 30,000, and 30,000. I mean, like I'm saying, what was it? Singles, fives, 20s, and it looked like the bag probably had like 100,000, 150,000 in the bag, but he claimed it was 30 grand, and he wanted to buy the girl. So they said, "Okay, no problem, you can buy the girl." They thought it was funny. They thought it was hilarious. You fell in love last time with that horrible Hispanic gangsters, uh, all of their way, all of their homes, yeah, chinga way, like y'all in Massachusetts. I don't think they sound like that in Mass. But the guy was kind of laughing at, "Oh, okay, you can get a girl when you want to buy," and he told them the girl, and they said, "Oh, she's not for sale." So he wanted to know, why wasn't she for sale? Like, what's going on? So they took him to like one of the rooms, and she's like laying on the floor dead. And they were like, "Yeah, one of the Johns kind of, they got out of hand, and this is the price, you got to pay in this business, but I could give you another girl." So when he saw that girl was dead on the floor, man, that really just took him there. He crashed out. The thug, the protagonist, Liam, he pulled out the, like, "Yo, all the girls, let's gather all the girls." So he got all the girls in the house, to get out of whatever they were doing. They were in there with, a lot of them were with Johns. And he wound up moving all the girls out of the house and down into the kitchen area, out of the bedrooms and into the kitchen area. And while in the kitchen area, he took all the money he had along with the money the gangsters had, and he told all the girls to take a stack. So they all took a stack of money, which, if you think about it, like, it's like a $10,000 stack. So each girl snatches 10 grand, 5 to 10 to 15 grand, and they're out of there. They're just, running out the front door. And one of the gangsters' henchmen were there in the house. And one of the girls warned him to be careful. There's a guy with a gun. She's like screaming and pointing. We got the gun. And he turns around. Bang, 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 bang. And he lays the guy down. The Hispanic guy who was going to sell the girl to him, like the boss, this is the same guy from the fish place in the beginning of the movie. Just somehow gets a weapon on him. Maybe, probably had it in his pocket, a knife, and stabs him. And as he stabs him, the gun falls from Lehman's hands onto the table, and he's now on his back with about 5, 6 stab wounds. It was one of those real quick, and the guy was like bragging about, like, yeah, I did you, jail style, and slow, or you want to die fast. I'm glad he's happy he got lines, but now he's ready to kill Lehman, and Lehman goes, you first. And one of the women, the same woman who warned him that there was a shooter coming behind him, she had the weapon that he dropped on the counter, and bang, lays the boss down. I'm sure she had enough animosity in her heart for this human that she laid him down, took her money, and ran out the door. Now we flash all the way to this guy meets up with his grandson again, with the bloody, in the car, bleeding out. Totally bleeding out. He's in the car. He meets it to his grandson, and he just drops a few gems on him, like, yo, I love you. Take care of your mother. Don't be like me. And I was thinking, oh my God, they're trying to make me cry. This director's trying to make me cry. Oh boy, what's going on? And the scene was pretty quick. He drives off. Oh, for the lawyer himself. Hit them off for 70, 80, over $100-something thousand worth of. This is before he went to that whorehouse. And then, the guy makes it back home, and he's in that same parking lot where he had the gun to his head and was going to take his own life. And he makes his way into the black at that point. But one of the parts that I'm leaving out of the movie that you have to see is that he was suffering from a lot of dreams of his own. He was always still trying to say sorry to his father for what he felt made his father leave him, or his father stopped dealing with him because his father told him something not to touch. Like, it was sort of like the Garden of Eden for the dad. Like, this is off limits, don't touch this. And when the father wasn't around, he touched it and he got in trouble for it, where the father did what they legends. And the father just totally walked away from those traditions from the son for not living up to his idea of what his son should have, even though most kids are going to do this kind of stuff, And so he kept having these major dreams of the father. And they were all wrapped around the water. All those people in Massachusetts, in that Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New England side of the coast. When you're along the Atlantic Ocean coast, they're heavy into fishing. So there was a lot of fishing references in his dreams. And I thought the movie was really good. I didn't cry. There was no tears dropped. I think the director, if he wanted to, he could have he could have pulled those strings a little bit, and he, I think he didn't want the thug to get the cries from the audience. If that makes any sense. I think the director was showing us the window to a man that you don't cry over when this person dies. You don't cry. When this person dies, down to the director. I wish I was watching it with my dad, like I said earlier, but que sera. It's been 58 minutes, and you are appreciated. Tap the screen twice to give me a thumbs up, and we'll do a review soon. And I love you, and I mean it. Check this movie out. Boom.